And as always, if views and comments are welcome on the program, just look for Joy News on Facebook. Drop your comment there and we'll share with the rest of the world. Also, if you are on Twitter, my handle is at Francis_Aban. But you can look for us at Joy News on TV. Drop your comment with the hashtag The Pulse and let's get interactive. Now, we begin today with the news of some scores of first-time voters unable to register at various centers in the Ashanti, Eastern and Volta regions. Today, the Electoral Commission opened the register for the limited voter registration exercise at more than 3,000 polling centers across the country. Let's begin a wrap of how things are looking now in the country. We begin from Mpraeso in the Eastern region, where we are learning of a scuffle between supporters of the NDC and the MPP at some polling centers. Let's speak to our Eastern Regional correspondent, Kofi Sian, who is monitoring, and he joins us now on the line. Kofi, for those who do not know about the story, what exactly happened at Mpraeso?
Well, Francis, thank you very much. This incident happened this morning around 9:30, 10 o'clock. It was the NDC that accused the NPP of coming to register with minors. And according to them, they have information that the NPP had housed some minors in some homes very close to some of these registration centers. So they were picking them one after the other and sending them to these registration centers to register. So the NDC says, well, they're not going to look at that. They're going to resist it. So in an attempt to resist it, it created confusion between the supporters of the two parties. And the police and the Electoral Commission had to come in to ensure that peace prevailed.
Were there any casualties as a result of the scuffle, Kofi?
Come again, Francis.
I'm asking if there were any casualties as a result of the scuffle at Mpraeso.
No, the security were very smart. They were very quick in ensuring that it doesn't get out of hand.
And for the Electoral Commission that's in charge of this limited voter registration exercise in the area, how have they been able to resolve the matter?
Well, they've told all the fielding factions, those involved with the brouhaha, to allow those minors, because you cannot tell who a minor is unless you are the parent or a family member. So they told them to exercise restraint, allow them to go through the process, and if they had any challenge, they will fill the form, and the committee whatsoever will look into their comments or whatever challenge that they have, so that that situation or that complaint can be resolved. So
okay.
they've allowed them to go through the exercise.
Kofi, is this the only isolated case we know of in the Eastern region as regards the exercise?
Yes, in the morning we had reports of tension mounting in Suhum, but it's been calmed down. The security there are on top of the issue, and it's been very peaceful in Suhum. These are the only two places that tension was so high, but as of now it's calmed down thanks to the help of the police.
All right, thank you, Kofi Sian, for details on this particular story from the Eastern region. We're learning also that in the Ashanti region, specifically at the Aswansi constituency, many young men and women are unable to complete the process because they do not have guarantors. Let's now speak to Erastus Asare-Donkor, who is monitoring that exercise for us. Erastus, how many of these first-time voters are we talking about who cannot complete the process?
Well, in one particular polling station, we had about 10 of such people in the morning coming in and being sent away because they were trying to use NHIS cards, which officers explained was not acceptable for the exercise. And so they had to go back and look for guarantors to come in. And they were telling me that many of the guarantors are turning down their proposal to assist them because they claim they have assisted 2 people already. And when you assist 2 people, it's not possible to assist other people again per the law. So that was the challenge. But let me bring you up to speed. Currently what is happening, it's raining tigers and elephants in Kumasi, and so many of the centers have been forced to close as we are speaking. or move into some structures if they can find. But a lot of the centers have closed as we speak because it's raining heavily right now in Kumasi.
Okay, but for the areas that are affected, Erastus, for the equipment you're using, has it in any way been affected?
Well, we had a lot of them wrapping up, packing equipment, and moving inside other shelters aside where they have been. If you realize, many of these centers are being mounted in schools and open places. And so with the rain coming in, they have to quickly wrap up, put the equipment in a safe place, and try to find shelter to be able to go on later. So many of them are waiting for the rains to subside, and then they will mount the equipment and start all over again.
All right, thank you, Erastus. And interesting description you gave of how it's raining tigers and elephants in Kumasi, specifically in the Asawase constituency. Talk about the voter turnout, especially for those first-time voters. We learned that the rains has also affected turnout in the Ketu South and Anlo constituencies in the Volta region. One of the first-time voters says that she could not find a guarantor to help her go through the process. We can speak to Ivy Setoji, who is monitoring the developments for us. Ivy, how widespread is that challenge? First of all, with the inability of these first-time voters to get guarantors.
Well, a lot of people experienced that particular problem. They couldn't get guarantors to register, and so some of them had to go back to look for guarantors. I spoke to some few young people who are registering for the first time, and they told me their frustrations. They said they needed the car urgently, not only because they wanted to use it to vote, but also because they needed to do other things. But the issue of guarantor is the problem. So they wish it can be solved, something else can be done about it. Apart from that, the rain also costs a lot because it started raining heavily in most parts of the southern Volta and Ho, and then it also disrupted the whole proceedings. But apart from that, everything is peaceful. The process is peaceful, and we hope that those who have not yet found guarantors will be able to do so.
All right, so for the rains, it's affected our voter turnout today at these centers. But do you have any indication from the officials what they are doing to make provision for those who could not make it today?
Well, they will not talk on record, but they said they are doing everything possible to make sure that those who could not vote, register today will be able to register during the other, maybe from tomorrow going, they will be able to register.
All right. Thank you, Ivy Setoji. That's the picture in the Volta region, specifically in the Ketu South constituency. It looks as though for the eastern and Volta regions, the rains has had its fair share of stopping the process temporarily. Let's go to the central region now and speak to Richard Kojunyako. Well, let's rather go to the upper east region and speak to Albert Sorry, our correspondent in that area, to find out what's happening up north as well. It seems we don't have him on the line right now. We'll try and reestablish contact with him, and then we'll bring you the details. But here in Accra, a lot has happened. First of all, we know that for the Clotte Colley NDC parliamentary candidate, Dr. Zanetta Rawlings, she has been able to register. You recall that issue became one of the reasons for which the Member of Parliament for the area, Niyama Ashite, has sent her to court challenging her eligibility to contest for the party in this year's parliamentary elections. My colleague Derek Akwasama has been busy today in Accra trying to get an understanding of how the process is going generally. He joins me now in the studio. Derek, where have you been to, and tell us what you found?
Great. I went to the ATTC registration center. I've also been to the Accra Polytechnic registration center, the Aditrom registration center, and some other centers. And I can tell you that it's pretty much the same. The situation is the same across the board. As of the last time I checked, before I came on, that was around 3 p.m. We had a little over 30 people registering at the ATTC center. I could see some people in the queue. Most of them are students at the training school, and so you realize that most of them have come there because school hours are over, and so they did not have the chance to register. I've been speaking to the officers in charge of the registration processes. They tell me that, one, it's the first day, and there's something they call the Ghanaian culture. You have a lot of people coming out on the first day for any of such exercises, and so they are hopeful that as the days go on, we'll have a lot more people registering. I think there are 4 more days to go for the first part, and then from the 4th of May, they would continue. The other bit is about the education and all of that. If people heard that such an exercise will take place, they tell me they have worked, and so they know that people know that they will have to come and register, but they simply aren't getting the numbers. People are not expressing that much of an interest in getting their ID cards and in registering.
Okay, you went to the Clotte College constituency, and I'm asking about that because we're learning of Dr. Zanetta Rawlings actually registering today. Did you see that happening?
I didn't see that happening. I guess it happened after I had left there earlier in the morning, because there are about 30 polling or registration centers in the Clotte College constituency alone. Accra Poly, Aditrom, and some others, and so especially for the first part, they are targeting about 15 for now, and then from the 4th of May, they would move on to the other centers.
Okay, and generally for those you found who had gone through the process, were they satisfied with it?
Yes, they were satisfied with the fact that it was smooth, it was safe, it was up to the minutes. You could get through that very quickly, and mind you, security is also tight. For the polling centers I visited, you could count at least 2 security officers, policemen, I must say, at the various centers.
All right, thank you, Derek Ekosan, with these details of what happened here in Accra. The picture is clear. 1.2 million first-time voters are expected to get to the polling stations, over 3,000 of them dotted across the country, to go and register and be part of this year's general elections. We also know that for these centers that have been set up, the biometric verification device is one of the things that will play a key role in this exercise. We're learning that in the western region, there have been some reports from the Ahanta West constituency. Well, we will look at the other issues to do with the elections shortly. We also know that in the Volta region, the rains have affected the turnout for the people in that area. We'll go for a quick break at this time. We'll come back and do some analysis on what day 1 of the limited voter registration exercise has been today. You're welcome back to The Pulse. And just before the break, we're telling you about how the limited voter registration exercise is going on across the country. We brought you how the picture was in the Eastern Volta regions, as well as here in the Greater Accra region. We'll surely go up north and speak to our Upper East regional correspondent, Albert Sorry, for more on what's happening on the ground as we speak. But we know that the political parties are also keen on monitoring this process to ensure that everyone who registers is actually eligible to go through that process as well. Joining us in the studio is Divine Nkrumah. He is the national youth organizer of the Progressive People's Party. They've been picking up their own intelligence on what's happening across the country. Want to get a sense from him of what he has for us this afternoon. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon.
And thanks for joining us.
And thanks for having me too.
Right, for the PPP, I know you spread your offices across the country to monitor this exercise. For your men on the ground, what's been the reports they've been bringing to your office?
Yes, let me thank you and then say a very good afternoon to your viewers, your cherished viewers. You know, the PPP, just a few days before this exercise, we have told our members, those who are eligible, because if we read the Constitution, Article 42 of the Constitution, it enjoins every citizen who is 18 years and above and of a sound mind to register and then partake in all election processes and everything that has to do with elections. And so we are encouraging our members everywhere to go out there, those who are eligible, to go and put their name on the voters register, make sure they are registered, go through the rudiments, so that at the end of the day, they also become agents of change, and then we all be able to vote for the change that we want. Because clearly we all know and understand that the MPP and the NDC, clearly Ghanaians have come to the understanding that they have not been on top of their game in terms of management of this country and all other things. So our members, we are encouraging our members
to go out there and register. But again, Divine, I'm asking that it's been about over 6 hours since the process started today, day 1. What's been your party's assessment of how the process has been so far?
Yeah, so far we have not recorded anything that is contrary to what we were expecting. We think that the process has been peaceful, everything is going on smoothly, and then we will still want to encourage our members to conduct themselves well, especially those that are not supposed to be within the arena of the registration exercise. So we can say that all in all, everything has been moving on smoothly. It's just some few cases here and there that we have recorded that we think something should be done about it. For instance, if you go to Ofase IRAB, the electoral officer there, in the process of acquiring or getting accreditation for our agents, we were shortchanged in the process.
How?
Because you know, as at yesterday, I was there personally to go and spearhead this whole thing and make sure that our people get the accreditation to also do the monitoring and other things. But just this morning, the gentleman, because of the gap, he exploited the gap, and then he's making it look like we did not do the right thing.
Which gap?
The gap is that the letter that was presented, there were some technicalities. I mean, in terms of grammar and even words and what we really wanted.
But again, if you want something done properly, do the right thing, isn't it?
No, you see, you are supposed to do the right thing. But you see, the electoral commissioner or the officer in the constituency also has a responsibility to ensure that he assists whoever he or she is dealing with. Because after all,
in dealing with details of a letter you sent to them?
No, a letter we had sent to them knowing that we had met you initially to complain to you that we want accreditation and we want you to advise us on the processes involved in getting accreditation. Then in the long run, we bring a letter and you tell us that we're supposed to rather put the names individually on different sheets and among other things. Clearly means that the guy was trying to exploit the gap, which was the ignorance on the part of some of the constituency executive who submitted the letter. However, we think that the whole exercise has been peaceful, everything has been moving on smoothly, but we are also telling our members who are ineligible that they should not go around to create any form of confusion, to find themselves in any acrimonious situation, because if we are found in that situation, for us, we have told our members that we are a disciplined political party and we are not going to condone any act of violence, misconduct, and we are going to give that person out to authorities that be to deal with you appropriately if we find out that you are not conducting yourself in a manner that will be detrimental to the image of the party.
It's interesting what you say about your party and this exercise, because I remember just a few days ago, the PPP was raising concerns about low education, and for that reason, this process should be postponed by some 5 more days. What happened to that?
Yes, you know, we are not the referees in the game. You can be a spectator, you can be watching as a fan, and you can complain about all the challenges, the discrepancies, the predicaments, and other things. But you are not the referee to be able to blow the whistle if you have any issues. So for us, we have raised qualms about this whole exercise, the awareness creation, the fact that the Electoral Commission has not been up to task in informing the public about the whole exercise and those who can go or who are eligible. Because just this morning I received a call from a friend of mine who said he had misplaced his card, and that he was asking me if he could go and join the queue to also get himself registered. And I said,
in fact, Divine, I'll give an answer to that friend of yours shortly, but I guess the picture is clear. For the PPP, you don't have too many qualms with the process so far. Things should run smoothly, and then your people should go and register. Yes. Okay, Divine, thank you. Thank you for joining us this afternoon on the program. Sure. He is the National Youth Organizer of the Progressive People's Party. We've just received a statement this afternoon from the Electoral Commission on that matter of the replacement of lost ID cards in the country. Many asking questions about it, including that friend of Divine Nkrumah, the National Youth Organizer of the PPP. Let me read that statement to you right now. It's dated today with the new logo of the Electoral Commission, titled Replacement of Lost Voter ID Cards. It says, the limited biometric voter registration exercise commences on Thursday, which is today, and ends on Sunday, the 8th of May, 2016. The EC takes the opportunity to reiterate to the general public that the limited registration exercise is for members of the public who have not previously registered. For registered voters who have misplaced their cards, the Commission has put arrangements in place for replacement of lost voter ID cards in all district offices nationwide. Applicants will be required to pay a replacement fee of 5 Ghana cedis into the Commission's bank accounts and take the deposit slip to the district office of the Commission, where they registered for spot printing and collection of the new ID cards. The fee may be paid at any branch of GCB Bank nationwide. And below are the bank account details. The name of the bank is GCB. The account name is EC Fee for Service. The account number is 116113000275. That's the account number. And then the branch is Boundary Road, Accra. It continues that the Commission would like to use this opportunity to once again remind the general public that it is an offense to engage in multiple registrations and that such persons will be dealt with in accordance with law and their names taken off the voters' register for a period of 5 years. And they're asking for the cooperation and the support of the public in this endeavor. This is signed by the Deputy Chairman in charge of operations at the Electoral Commission, Mr. Amadou Sule. So if you had questions about whether or not you've replaced your ID, you've misplaced it, should you go and register during this time? The answer is no. There is a process for you to go to any of the district offices of the EC, go through that process, pay up that 5 cedis into the GCB accounts of the Electoral Commission, and then go through that process to have your card replaced. So don't go queue during this time in a bid to multiple register during this exercise. That's some information for you this afternoon. We'll go for another short break. When we come back, we'll deal with that matter of that drug that was not supposed to be on the market. It is now, is meant to cure gonorrhea, and many people are at risk of this drug. We'll bring you details after the break. Stay with us.